The courtroom fell silent as 17-year-old Marcus Chen stood before Judge Raymond Blackwood. His mother sat in shackles, accused of stealing medication she couldn't afford from Marcus's younger sister. The judge's reputation preceded him: ruthless, unforgiving, a man who believed mercy was weakness. "Your Honor," Marcus began, his voice steady despite his trembling hands. "Let my mother go, and I will cure you." Judge Blackwood's face twisted into a cruel smile. Laughter erupted from his chest, echoing through the oak-paneled room. The bailiffs joined in, then the prosecutors. Even some spectators couldn't suppress their amusement. The judge had suffered from chronic migraines for 15 years. Dozens of specialists had failed. What could this teenager possibly offer? "Cure me?" Blackwood wiped tears from his eyes. "Boy, I've seen the best neurologists in the country. What makes you think?" "I know what's wrong with you," Marcus interrupted, pulling a crumpled medical journal from his backpack. "You don't have migraines. You have a rare condition called occipital neuralgia caused by compression of the greater occipital nerve. The symptoms mimic migraines, so doctors treat the wrong thing." The laughter died. Blackwood's smile faded. He had described those exact symptoms to countless doctors, but none had mentioned this condition. His headache started at the base of his skull, radiating forward, precisely as this boy described. Marcus continued, "I've been studying neurology for 3 years. My sister has a rare disease, so I learned to read medical research. Last month, I read about your case in the legal newsletter. My biology teacher helped me access medical databases. I found 17 cases identical to yours. All were misdiagnosed." The judge leaned forward, his expression shifting from mockery to curiosity. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. Marcus's mother looked up, hope flickering in her exhausted eyes. The impossible was beginning. Judge Blackwood slammed his gavel, silencing the courtroom. His headache pulsed behind his eyes, as it had every day for 15 years. The pain made him irritable, harsh, unforgiving. It had cost him his marriage and his relationship with his daughter. He lived on prescription painkillers that barely dulled the agony. "Approach the bench," he commanded. Marcus walked forward, his heart hammering. His mother reached out as he passed, but the bailiff pulled her back. Everything depended on this moment. His mother faced 5 years in prison. His sister needed her. They all needed her. "Explain yourself," Blackwood demanded, his voice low and dangerous. "And understand this, if you're wasting my time, your mother's sentence doubles." Marcus swallowed hard. The greater occipital nerve runs from your spine through your skull muscles. When something compresses it, the pain mimics migraines perfectly. Traditional migraine treatments don't work because they target blood vessels, not nerves. You probably tried everything: triptans, beta blockers, even Botox injections. Blackwood's eyes widened. "How did you know about the Botox?" "Because that's the standard progression. But none of it worked, did it? The pain starts here." Marcus gestured to the base of his skull, and radiates forward. "Sometimes it feels like electricity shooting through your head. Bright lights make it worse. You probably have tender spots right here." Marcus indicated 2 points on either side of his own neck. Blackwood unconsciously touched the same spots on his own neck, wincing. Those exact locations had been sensitive for years. No doctor had ever specifically examined them. "What's the treatment?" Blackwood asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Nerve blocks. Targeted injections that numb the compressed nerve. If that works, there's a minor surgical procedure to decompress it permanently. The success rate is 8 to 7% for cases like yours." The judge studied Marcus's face, searching for deception. He found only desperate honesty and remarkable intelligence. Judge Blackwood leaned back in his chair, fingers pressed against his temples. The courtroom remained frozen in anticipation. He had built his career on harsh justice, on making examples of people. Now a teenage boy was offering him something no medical expert could: hope. "Why should I trust you?" Blackwood asked. "You're not a doctor. You're a kid whose mother is a convicted thief." "She's not a thief," Marcus replied, his voice firm. "She's a mother who watched her daughter suffer. The medication costs $8,000 per dose. Insurance denied it 3 times. My sister was dying. What would you do?" The question hung in the air. Blackwood thought of his own daughter, whom he hadn't spoken to in 2 years. Would he have done differently? The pain in his head throbbed, reminding him of his own desperation. "I have a proposal," Marcus continued. "Give me 2 weeks. Let me arrange a consultation with Dr. Sarah Chen at University Medical Center. She's a leading specialist in occipital neuralgia. She's also my aunt. I've already contacted her about your case. She reviewed the medical records I could access publicly through your advocacy work disclosures. She believes I'm right." "Your aunt?" Blackwood's eyebrows rose. "My mother's sister. She offered to see you free of charge. If I'm wrong, my mother accepts whatever sentence you give. If I'm right and she helps you, you let my mother go. You can still require community service, restitution, whatever you think is fair. Just not prison. My sister needs her." The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor, this is highly irregular." "Sit down," Blackwood snapped. The prosecutor sat today. The judge looked at Marcus's mother. She sat straight despite her chains, dignity intact even in her darkest hour. He saw something he'd forgotten in his years of pain and bitterness. He saw humanity. 2 weeks, Blackwood said finally. "But your mother remains in custody pending trial. And Marcus, if this is some scheme, you'll regret it." Marcus nodded, relief flooding through him. The impossible was becoming possible. Dr. Sarah Chen's office was nothing like the sterile examination rooms Judge Blackwood had endured for years. Warm lighting, comfortable chairs, and walls covered with patient success stories created an atmosphere of hope. Marcus sat beside the judge, his presence required as part of their agreement. Dr. Chen examined Blackwood with gentle precision, her fingers probing the base of his skull. "Marcus was right," she said after 20 minutes. "You have classic bilateral occipital neuralgia. I can feel the inflammation around both greater occipital nerves. I'm amazed this was missed for so long." "What now?" Blackwood asked, afraid to hope. "We start with diagnostic nerve blocks today. Local anesthetic injected at the nerve sites. If your pain disappears, we'll know for certain. Then we can discuss permanent solutions." The injections took 15 minutes. Blackwood sat in the recovery chair, waiting. Marcus watched anxiously, everything riding on this moment. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Suddenly, Blackwood's eyes widened. "It's gone," he whispered. "The pain is gone." For the first time in 15 years, his head was clear. No throbbing, no pressure, no stabbing electricity. He touched the base of his skull in wonder. Tears streamed down his face. "Oh my God," he sobbed. "I forgot what this felt like." Dr. Chen smiled. "The relief confirms the diagnosis. We can make this permanent with a minor procedure called occipital nerve decompression. 90% success rate for long-term relief." Blackwood looked at Marcus, the 17-year-old boy who had accomplished what dozens of specialists could not. "Why?" he asked. "Why help me? I've been cruel to people like your mother my entire career." Marcus met his gaze. "Because pain makes people cruel. You've been suffering. Maybe without that suffering, you'll be different. Maybe you'll remember that people who make mistakes are still people. My mom made a mistake out of love. That shouldn't destroy our family." Blackwood nodded slowly, understanding flooding through his clear mind. Everything looked different without pain clouding his judgment. 3 weeks later, Judge Blackwood returned to his courtroom a changed man. The permanent nerve decompression procedure had been successful. For the first time in 15 years, he woke without pain, worked without suffering, and thought with clarity unclouded by constant agony. Marcus's mother stood before him once again, but this time without shackles. The courtroom was packed with reporters, curious lawyers, and citizens who had heard whispers of what had transpired. "Mrs. Chen," Blackwood began, his voice gentle in a way that shocked court regulars, "you stole medication for your daughter. That was illegal. However, I reviewed your case with new eyes not clouded by pain and bitterness. You applied for insurance coverage 17 times. You worked 3 jobs. You exhausted every legal avenue. When your daughter's condition became critical, you acted out of desperation and love." He paused, looking at Marcus in the gallery. "Your son taught me something. He showed me that behind every case is a human story. That justice without mercy is just cruelty. I've been cruel for 15 years because I was suffering. I made others suffer because I was suffering. That ends today." The judge's voice grew stronger. "I'm sentencing you to 2 years of community service at the Children's Hospital, helping families navigate the medical insurance system so others don't face your impossible choice. Additionally, I'm personally funding your daughter's treatment for the next year, and I've contacted 3 foundations that have agreed to cover her care long-term." Gasps filled the courtroom. Mrs. Chen's leg buckled, and Marcus rushed forward to support her. "Furthermore," Blackwood continued, "I'm establishing the Second Chance program in this district. We'll review cases involving parents who committed crimes due to medical desperation. This should never happen again." He looked directly at Marcus. "You gave me my life back. You showed me that intelligence, compassion, and courage aren't bound by age or circumstance. You're going to medical school. Son, I'm making sure of it." Marcus stood tall, tears streaming down his face. His mother embraced him, free at last. The impossible had happened. One boy's knowledge and desperate love had transformed not just a judge, but an entire system. Sometimes miracles aren't divine interventions. Sometimes they are 17-year-old kids who refuse to accept injustice, who study until they find answers, and who dare to offer hope to those who have forgotten what hope feels like. Judge Blackwood smiled, genuinely smiled, for the first time in 15 years. The courtroom erupted in applause. Justice, tempered with mercy, had finally prevailed. "Retry,"